So, mothers and others, we are down to our last two candidates for the evening. And I'm so excited because actually I've met both of these wonderful women before. So, first up is Elizabeth Ginsberg. Elizabeth Ginsberg is a candidate for Texas House District 108. She's running to unseat Republican incumbent Morgan Meyer. Welcome, Elizabeth. I'm so glad you're here. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're running for office?
Thank you so much, Nancy, and thank you, mothers and others. My name's Elizabeth Ginsberg. I'm running for House District 108, currently held by one of the last Republicans left in Dallas County, Morgan Meyer. We're ready to get him out of there. I was your 2022 Democratic nominee for this seat, and I am so proud of the race we ran, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a few minutes, but a little bit about me and why I'm running. I am a mom. I'm the mom of two young women who are recent college graduates, kind of figuring their lives out right now. I've got one in graduate school, one who is up in DC, and every day I'm on the phone with them. And I'm trying to make the case to them about why they need to come back to Texas, because I'm a seventh generation Texan. I love Texas and I want to get them back here. But I will tell you, and I think I'm preaching to the choir here, it's hard to make the case that this is a place where a young person has a bright future. And that is why I'm running. That is my why I am in this, why I ran in 2022, and why I'm running again this year. So I am so proud of the race that I ran in 2022. And it was from organizations like yours that helped us really make a really strong showing. Our district had been gerrymandered. Morgan Meyer got to pick his voters, which is everything wrong with our system right now. And he drew himself a district. We outperformed the expectations on those maps. So we were the first ones to run under that map, and we outperformed those expectations. We outperformed solid Democrat performers in Dallas County within the bounds of that district. And there is just so much to build on. Now, I'll tell you, I have a primary opponent. There's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking happening about this race, but I will tell you, last year this time, I was participating in a program called Future Winners. I'd been nominated by Emily's List. It was a national program put on by the DNC and several other national organizations. There were 27 state house candidates from across the country. I was the only Texas candidate who participated in this. We took a deep dive into our races and identified the things we did well, the things we needed to improve on. But the reason I was chosen for this is because this organization, Future Winners, knows that you win tough races by persistence. You don't change horses in the middle of the race. This district knows me, and I know this district. I've lived here 28 years. My husband and I raised our two girls here, and that's how we're going to get this done. It's persistence and building on that solid foundation we created in 2022.
Wonderful. So, Elizabeth, what are the three most important issues for your district right now?
I would say they all relate to extremism, because extremism is just gone crazy. But I would say number one, women's reproductive health. Number two, public education. And number three, guns. And I'll talk first about the issues related to women's reproductive health. I will tell you, last time I ran, Roe had been overturned, but people in this district, it's an affluent district, kind of believed they could buy their way out of this problem, that this was a problem that was for other people. And it's a harsh reality, but that was the view. But we have so many courageous young women who have come forward and shared their stories. And so many people who live in this district are seeing in these young women, this problem affects my life. That could be my wife. That could be me. That could be my daughter. Those are the discussions that we're having now. It is real. And so that is one of the things that I think is going to make this more of a voting issue than it was in 2022. We've also got these 26,000 women who are pregnant by rape here in Texas. We cannot forget the fact that there's a lot of discussion about, should we talk about exceptions? Oh, they aren't effective. But I will tell you, when I am elected to serve in the Texas House, we have got to talk about these exceptions, and we also have to talk about some carve outs for physicians, because whatever happens in 2024, we're not going to have a majority, but we will be able to shift the discussion, because that's what happens when Republicans lose. You can shift the discussion. And for that, I think we have to focus on doing things like carve out exceptions for physicians, create safe harbors so they know how and when, in what situations they can legally treat women. We also have to make sure that women have the privacy that they need, that they currently don't have under these alternatives to abortion programs. They give them, these programs give pregnancy tests and ultrasounds, but you know what? It's not a medical provider, which means it's not protected by HIPAA. So our state's collecting a list of pregnant women, and that's wrong. On the issues related to education, first of all, this district was stunned when Morgan Meyer voted for vouchers, and we are spreading the word. Morgan Meyer voted for vouchers because this district loves its public schools. There's 3 school districts in this district, and all of them are built around communities that are built completely around these public schools. And so, you always hear these stories about Friday night lights out in rural Texas, but I will tell you, it's alive and well in central Dallas. And so everyone was shocked. On a Friday, Morgan Meyer voted for vouchers. The following Monday, he was endorsed by Greg Abbott. And Nancy, I know you've talked a lot about that money that's coming in. It's going to be coming in right into House District 108. So I need everyone's help, because we have got to defeat Morgan Meyer. I want to be having the conversation about schools, not how are we going to starve them? How are we going to pull the money out? I want to be having the discussion about how do we create the best public school system in the country. That is the discussion that this district wants to be having. And it is going to involve change over the long term, but that is where we need to be going. Instead of how are we going to starve the districts, we need to be talking about how are we going to fully fund our schools so our kids are getting the best education to carry our state into the future, because that's the future of Texas, is right there in our public schools. And the final issue that I think is most important in this district are guns. We've got to talk about the guns. And I know your organization has been very supportive of Roland Gutierrez. And I was stunned. I'm sure you've heard his story about how he went into Dan Patrick after he had watched the videos, watched the body cam videos, and was like, Dan, have you seen how we've got to talk about this? Have you seen those videos? And the response he got was, we don't watch the videos. And Morgan Meyer doesn't talk about the guns. He sure isn't watching the videos. But everyone in this district knows that it is a matter of time before we are all somehow affected by this kind of gun violence. And I think, it may not happen in our district, but every day I hear from more and more people who are living the reality of what gun violence does in their families. It's something that happened in my family. My youngest daughter was away at college. There was a home invasion where a friend lived, and he was murdered. And, you realize he's clearly the gun victim. But all of his friends, the impact it had on my daughter of being a victim of gun violence. And every day you think about, the families down at that church in Houston. You think about the families who went out to celebrate a Super Bowl victory in Kansas City. We have got to talk about the guns, and this community wants to talk about the guns. I had a MAGA guy come up to me with the red hat and everything at a 4th of July parade. I was walking with Moms Demand Action, and he said, well, what's that all about? I said, it's responsible gun ownership and gun violence prevention. And he said, well, I agree with that. I'm like, most Texans do. So it's time to start taking action to solve these problems. And so I think those are the three big issues in our district, but it's all related to extremism. It's all related to extremism.
Absolutely, 100%. And of course, being in North Texas, you guys have, I'm lucky I'm in Austin. It's a little bit different down here, but being in North Texas, you guys do have a lot of the extreme, like Christian nationalism.
Oh, yeah. You definitely see it. And I'm seeing it growing in our district. I really didn't think it was present in 108, But the more I'm talking to people and hearing, like, oh, my neighbor said this is happening, it's this slow creep. And I'll tell you, Morgan has a primary opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really fueled by this Christian nationalist movement. It is Ken Paxton and Dan Patrick and Texit, and it's dangerous, dangerous rhetoric that we have to be vigilant in opposing.
Absolutely. So, Elizabeth, where can
Mhm.
we find you and how best can we support you right now while you're running for office?
Certainly. You can find me at lizfortexas.com, www.lizfortexas.com. My social media handles, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, I guess X is what it is now. I'm on Threads, and Instagram as Liz for Texas. So I'm pretty easy to find. We have 3 block walks kicking off this weekend. One on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. You can go to Liz for Texas and let us know you're interested, and we can get you the information. We also have teams of people who are putting out yard signs, where the yard sign orders continue to come in. It's a good entree. If you're not comfortable knocking on doors, it's a great way to get started. And we also have folks who are doing phone banking. We have some apartments down in the Turtle Creek corridor area of Dallas that we cannot knock. So we have been doing phone banking there. And so if you're interested in helping us out, we need poll greeters. We're working on that calendar as we speak, and would just welcome any help you'd like to offer to our campaign.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail.
Thank you, Nancy. Good to see you.